everybody, I'm Lola, the llama, head llama here at the Triple Llama Studios, and today we're going to talk about drums. But Lola, you might be saying, the Triple Llama Studios does not own a drum kit, so how do you get all those fancy drum sounds into your tracks? We're going to show you after this break.
Fix the verse just in time. Reverb at 4 or 5. Gotta wrap the new mix by 8 a.m. Drums first, then the guitar. The wordsmith's working hard to record the best art he can for you. Well, you know what I've been told. You need a full band to run this show. And I can't do this all on my own, but I kinda do, and I'll show you how at the Triple Llama. I can't write a song,
Joseph, you didn't use drums for a very long time in your songs, but then they just sort of showed up.
This has been a problem that I've been trying to solve for a long time. Initially, I thought maybe I can create a drum kit out of paint cans and Rubbermaid totes. But then one day, I got a request to cover Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. There's no way I can cover this song without drums. No matter what I do to the rhythm and the tempo, it's going to be incredibly obvious that the drums are missing, and I'm not going to be able to do it justice. I need to do something. I need to fix this somehow. It occurred to me, that's a very popular song. Maybe there are some karaoke tracks for it. And in fact, there were. For $1.99, you can buy not only a backing karaoke track, you can get an isolated drum track.
So, that's it? You just go to a website and pay for a drum track and then put it in your recording software? That doesn't sound very exciting.
Sometimes yes. Usually no. Most of the time when I get requests, it is for songs that are a little more obscure. If we can't find a karaoke track that is specifically designed for that song, we are going to scour YouTube and find a free one that we are authorized to use, of course. Sometimes we can't do that either, and in that case, we have to edit it. Back in January, I covered a song called Haiku by a band called Tally Hall. As far as I know, there is no karaoke track for any song available by that band. The first thing that we need to do is figure out the song's BPM, beats per minute. You can calculate this manually by tapping. There's apps that will help you do that. I'm really bad at this, so I usually Google it. There are a number of websites where you can look up a song's BPM. Sometimes, if it is not in their database, you can actually upload a file and it will use an algorithm to automatically calculate it. I often will check at least 2 or 3 different websites. Here's a little bit of what the original sounds like.
For you, alright, I'm through. Maybe this poem was lost in the sauce we spilled.
The feel there is not quite rock. There's a little too much swing in it. So maybe we're looking for jazz, maybe we're looking for alternative. Now, if we can't find 96 BPM exactly, that's all right. We could do 95. Simple straight beat. Let's see what this is like. So that does not sound very much like the drum track on the original. We're going to need something different. Oh, here's a rock one. That one's got more variation, but again, doesn't really sound a lot like the original that we heard. Most of the time that I spend on drum tracks, it's going through the various styles and seeing if I can find something that fits. So in recording haiku, I did that for a while, and then I found this. I would not have picked a hip-hop drum channel for a Tally Hall song, and yet it's perfect. And we didn't really need to do anything. I downloaded that track through completely legal means, shaved off the first few seconds where it's a click track. So now that we have our drum file, we would create a new song in Studio One. Haiku, of course, was the song from a few months ago, so this is already done. But if it was a brand new song, we would create a new track for our drums, and then we would import the drum file that we have downloaded. I am going to mark this solo, so it'll only play the drum track from YouTube. And now that there's a drum track, I could use that as a basis to record my acoustic guitar. And once those acoustic tracks are done, I can listen to the drum track and the acoustic tracks at the same time and do some vocals.
I have been trying to write a haiku for you.
What do you do if the drum track is longer than the song you're recording? Not a problem. That happens a lot. I will just take it to where I need it to go and then fade out. But what if the drum track isn't long enough? I do run into that occasionally, and in fact, that was the case this month for Hunting High and Low. I thought that if I could time it so that the drums cut out for a second, I could go back to the beginning of the track and I could restart it and have it seem like the drums were taking a natural break. So it ended up sounding like this. So for most of your songs then, you are editing drum tracks together. Taking this piece and putting it here and putting this here and then repeating this here. Has there ever been a track where you just couldn't find a drum track someone else had made that fit, but you really needed the drums on that track? There has been a track like that. No matter how much I looked, what resources I used, I just could not find a drum track anyone else had used. I did have to make one, but since I don't have any drums on hand, I used an app. This app is called Drumbit, and it allows you to create your own drum tracks. You can do a jazz kit, a hip hop one. We've got options for hi-hat, for snare, for bass. What we have here is 4 measures laid out in a grid and broken down into 16. I can get all kinds of different sounds at different times. This is an example that I made real quick. We're going to do 4 measures, and if I hit play, I get this. And that will loop unless I go to the second page and do an entirely new pattern. We can also change the BPM. Let's say, for example, we wanted to make it 100 instead. And maybe that feels a little bit robotic, and we want to increase the swing. The Flaming Lips drum track took quite a while to put together. Once I did, it was exactly the way that I wanted it. That medley starts with Race for the Prize, but it goes into Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, a very different song with a very different feel. And as you saw on the drum bit menu, you can have kits that come in totally different styles. When the song shifted into the second part of the medley, I created an entirely different drum track and I blended them. And that's usually it for drums. Every time that I record anything now, I think, why didn't I think of this like 3 years ago? Drums! Yay! Thank you so much, Cameron Wordsmith patrons, for sponsoring this series. I appreciate it. And we will see you back soon. Rock out to some drums. I see you. I know you're going to rock out. Yeah.